Good morning, everyone. The time is now 9:30. I will call the April 13th, 2021 meeting of the Mill Creek Township Board of Supervisors to order. Would you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being televised live online via Go Live on YouTube.com. It's available at the Mill Creek Township website, millcreektownship.com/meetings, and recorded by WQLN for viewing on Spectrum Channel 1024 and YouTube.com with closed captioning. Members of the public may attend in person in the General Assembly Room. However, total occupancy is limited to 25 persons and masks are required. Persons who wish to offer testimony at any hearing or to offer comments during the public comment portion of this meeting but do not wish to attend in person must contact Township Secretary Cheryl Williams at 814-833-1111 or swilliams@millcreektownship.com no later than 24 hours before the scheduled meeting to make arrangements to participate via telephone. Ms. Williams, has anyone made arrangements previously for today's meeting? Okay. No? Thank you. The next item on our agenda is approval of the minutes. Are there any questions or comments from the board regarding our March 23rd meeting minutes? With that, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
Mr. Ouellette?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And I apologize. Thank you, Mr. Ouellette. I missed the agenda item. Public comments on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Would anyone care to address the board regarding today's agenda? Okay, thank you. Next is the approval of the bills. Any questions or comments on the bills, gentlemen? With that, is there a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
Mr. Ouellette?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next is bids and quotations. So the first item is lift column adapters from the Public Works Department. Mr. Snyder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, gentlemen. Fleet Maintenance is seeking permission to purchase a set of lift column adapters to be able to lift the trucks and machinery up by the bumpers to be able to work on tires and springs without having to lift the entire vehicle. These will be purchased from Gray Manufacturing for the CoStar's price of $2,633.96 under the CoStar's contract number 008-607. There was $20,000 in the capital budget for the adapters, minus the $2,633.96, leaves a balance of $17,366.04 in reserves. It would be my recommendation to purchase these lift column adapters from Gray Manufacturing for $2,633.96.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Any questions or comments from the board? With that, is there a motion to approve the purchase of the lift column adapters from Gray Manufacturing at a cost not to exceed $2,633.96?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
Mr. Ouellette?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the refrigerant recycling machine from Public Works. Mr. Snyder.
Fleet Maintenance is seeking permission to purchase a refrigerant recycling machine. This is used to remove refrigerant from the air conditioning units in the police and trucks vehicles. Quotes were sought and received from Alltech, $6,995, Granger, $4,273.50, and Snap-on Tools for $3,992.82. There is $4,500 in the capital budget for the purchase of this machine, minus the $3,992.82 leaves a reserve balance of $507.18. It would be my recommendation to purchase the refrigerant machine from Snap-on Tools for the cost of $3,992.82.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, is there a motion to purchase the refrigerant recycling machine from Snap-on Tools for a cost not to exceed $3,992.82?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next is a tire balancer from the Public Works Department. Mr. Snyder, once again.
This is also fleet maintenance. It is seeking permission to purchase a tire balancing machine to use on the police cars and light trucks. Quotes were sought and received from Granger, $13,086.60. Best Buy Automotive, $9,207.52. And Snap-on Tools, $5,995 even. There were $17,366.04 in reserves in the fleet maintenance capital budget, minus the $5,995, leaves a balance of $11,371.04 in reserves. My recommendation to purchase the tire balancing machine from Snap-on Tools for the cost of $5,995.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, is there a motion to approve the tire balancing machine from Snap-on Tools at a cost not to exceed $5,995?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the transition jack lift table from the Department of Public Works. Mr. Snyder.
This is also from fleet maintenance, seeking permission to purchase a transmission jack. Quotes were sought and received from Solus Group, $8,291. Gary Automotive Equipment for $6,194.27. And Snap-on Tools for $5,999.95. The transmission jack was a line item in the fleet maintenance capital budget. $6,500 was budgeted, minus the $5,999.95 leaves a reserve balance of $500.05. It would be my recommendation to purchase the transmission jack from Snap-on Tools for the cost of $5,999.95.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Any questions or comments from the board? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the transmission jack from Snap-on Tools for a cost not to exceed $5,999.95?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Just a quick note for the audience. I know it sounds like Mr. Snyder had quite the shopping list, and the board didn't have many questions for him. All of his items are previously included in the capital budget, so we had extensive internal discussions last year before the budget was approved. So just in case you're wondering why we're not asking many questions, these are all previously approved budget items that we're just now approving the purchases of. So just want to clarify that. Next item, traffic light control cabinet, Peach Street and Interchange. Mr. Snyder.
Yes. Traffic is seeking to update the traffic light control cabinet at Peach and Interchange. This would be for 2 broadband radios and 1 Ethernet switch. These items will allow the updated cabinets to run off the radio system, which is controlling the Peach Street and Interchange Road corridor. Quotes were sought and received from only one company, that being Pathmasters, for the cost of $6,925.50. Traffic Products, the other company that does business in the township, was contacted twice about this cabinet and did not choose to quote. Traffic's capital budget has $30,382.50. On this light item, the cost of the cabinet is $6,925. Leaves a balance in reserve of $23,457.50. It would be my recommendation to purchase the 2 radios and Ethernet switch from Pathmasters for the cost of $6,925.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Any questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the purchase of the radios and Ethernet switch for the noted traffic control cabinet from Pathmasters at a cost not to exceed $6,925?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is 2 solar school zone lights for 38th Street near McDowell. Mr. Snyder?
Yes. Traffic is seeking to install 2 15-mile-an-hour school zone lights on 38th Street in the McDowell School Zone corridor. Crash statistics, were gathered from Mill Creek PD, and the consensus was the signals are warranted in this area. These are solar lights and have been approved by PennDOT, so we won't have any electrical bills associated with the 2 signals. Quotes were sought and received from Pathmasters, $10,570 even, and Traffic Products, $10,446 even. There is $23,457.50 in reserves for this project, minus the $10,446, leaves a reserve balance of $13,011.50. It would be my recommendation to purchase these 2 school zone lights from Traffic Products for the cost of $10,446.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Any questions or comments from the board?
No, sir.
All right, gentlemen, I will just note that these these school zone lights were not part of the capital budget, and they will require a capital budget amendment, which Mr. Snyder and Mr. Zakrzewski have presented as part of this request. So it would be to shift, as Mr. Snyder noted, we have about $23,000 in reserves. It would be amending the capital budget to include the solar school zone lights for $10,446. So is there a motion to amend the capital budget and approve the purchase? I apologize. And approve the purchase from Traffic Products at a cost of $10,446.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Snyder. Next item is the Scott Park Rehabilitation and Development Project bid announcement and award. Planning and Development Department. Ms. Sokol, are you covering that today?
I am,
All right, thank you very much. What do you got for us?
thank you. Parks and Recreation Department, along with the Planning and Development Department, have worked together on a project that satisfies both the requirement the township has to make to the park amenities for their ADA compliance as per the consent decree. It also will provide connectivity between all amenities without making the public walk along the road. The project is being funded in part by DCNR grant that was secured by Ms. Marsteller from the Director of Parks and Recreation. Grant was awarded in the amount of $77,400 and requires a 50% match. The match will be satisfied by the purchase of the benches and bleachers, as well as manpower to install and build both of these things, and the engineering involved in producing the contract documents and the survey crews' time and securing all the locations. And we will also perform the inspection, and the inspector's time will be logged and counted as part of that match. Should that not be sufficient, although I believe it will, Parks and Recreation does have a line item for this project of $75,000. We put it out for a bid. Bids were opened publicly on April 7th, 2021 at the Township Building. We received 5 bids. Amendola Construction and Maintenance came in at $121,690. Consulon Bible Company came in at $167,000. Lindy Paving came in at $98,540. Mayor Brothers Incorporated came in at $155,000. And Battle of Concrete came in at $120,882. It would be our recommendation to award to the low bid, Lindy Paving, for $98,540. We have done work with this company, ramps, sidewalks, and are pleased with their work.
Thank you, Ms. Sokol. Any questions or comments from the board?
None here.
No, sir.
I have a couple comments. I just want to recognize the work of Ann and her team and the engineering department, as well as Ashley Marsteller, our Director of Parks and Recreation, to go after this grant. It's been a long process for us, working with the state to meet all their requirements to fulfill the grant applications. I think it's exciting for us to be able to make these improvements in Scott Park, which is going to improve the access for the park, create walking trails, enhance some of our ballpark amenities, and the fact that the state is going to cover 50% of those costs is a boom for us. So I want to recognize our staff for all their hard work and thank them for that. With that, gentlemen, I will call for a motion to approve the Lindy paving in a bid of $98,540.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach,
I vote yes.
Mr. Olet,
I vote yes.
and I vote yes. Next item is the ECOG joint purchasing bid announcement and awards. Is that Mr. Snyder and Ms. Sokol?
I will take that one also.
Okay.
I have attached for your knowledge, and it is available, the bid results. I can read them if the board prefers. Just for the items that we bid on, this is for the streets and roads, storm sewer projects mostly, and we did, COG opened up bids. We put in for 2,500 ton of type C crushed wash number 57, which we use for bedding and wrapping a pipe, and we put in storm sewer. Would you prefer I read them all, or would you like me just to get the low bid?
I'll probably just the low bid for the items we intend to purchase.
Okay. And the low bidder for us to go pick it up at their yard is Gertz for $8.90 a ton. And if we were to have it delivered to our yard, Erie Aggregate, for $14.25 a ton. The next item that we put in for was a 2A stone, which is used above the 57 on pipe up to the top, to the base of the road. 50 ton of that. ACA sand and gravel for pickup was low bid, $7.50 a ton. And I apologize, I made a small error for delivered. It was Erie Aggregate and Showman had the same price for $14.25 per ton to the yard. We would use that wherever this would be used, the 2A stone, which is probably on Loveland. We would go to the closest place to get it. We put in for 60 ton of R7 rock, which is a very large rock we use for riprap. Pickup had a low bid of $9 a ton from Safford, who I believe is in Wattsburg. We don't have a steel bed truck, and I do not recommend that you put in an aluminum bed truck. So we would have to have it hauled by others, but that was the low bid for pickup, and there were no submissions for delivery. So that's our recommendation, is to award the type C number 57 pickup Gertz for $8.90 a ton. Delivered Erie Aggregate for $14.25. 2A stone pickup ACA sand and gravel for $7.50 a ton, and delivered of Erie Aggregate and Showman for $14.25 a ton, depending on proximity. And the R7 to Safford for $9 a ton, but we would have to find others to haul.
Any questions or comments from the board? Ms. Sokol, quick question for you. So we were not actually authorizing a specific purchase amount at this time. We were just approving these contractors at those prices as needed.
as needed, correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Okay, with that, is there a motion to accept the bids as presented by Ms. Sokol?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes, and I'll thank Mr. Olet for his representation on the COG and the good work they're doing for multi-municipal joint purchasing. So, thank you, Dan, for taking part in that.
Sure thing, thank you.
Next item is new or amended ordinances under review. A proposed ordinance 2021-5, an ordinance of the Township of Mill Creek, Erie County, Pennsylvania, establishing and adopting an official map of the whole of the township pursuant to municipality's planning code and amending the township code to create a new chapter 124 entitled Official Map. It's just a notice to the general public that a new ordinance is under review. The Planning Commission had a public hearing last Tuesday, and we'll have another public hearing. Lady, do you have that date?
It'll be May 4th
Okay,
is
May
the
4th
second
at
public meeting.
May 4th at 7 p.m. in this room, the Planning Commission will hold their next public hearing on that proposed ordinance for official map. So just, again, notifying that is being worked on. Any questions, folks can visit millcreektownship.com/official map to see the map, to provide comments on the map. We encourage folks to do so. Or please give us a call here at the township at 833-1111 and ask for the engineering office or the planning office if you have any questions or concerns about the official map. Lady, is there anything else you wanted to add about that?
No, nothing further.
Okay. Next item is Resolution 2021-R21, a resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015-R20 and the Municipal Records Manual to approve proposed disposition of certain township records. This is a routine item on our agenda. The vote today, gentlemen, would be to authorize the MPD to delete dashcam video which meet the retention requirement period between the dates of April 14th and April 27th. Any questions or comments from the board on that? Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2021-R21?
I'll make that motion, John.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And next item is Resolution 2021-R22, a resolution to authorize exoneration of taxes assessed against mobile homes deemed by the Erie County Bureau of Assessment to have been removed or damaged to the extent rendering them worthless. Is that Mr. Zakrzewski or Ms. Caparosa would like to address that?
This was a request from the county assessor's office. What they're trying to do is just get these properties off the books. We've done this in the past where we've exonerated the remaining taxes on the properties in order to clear the county record books. And the dollar amounts are always very small on these. I believe on the one property it's about $102, and the other one's going to be in the same neighborhood. I don't think these are the ones that go in the repository that ultimately could be resold because they're in such bad condition. They just want to get them off the books and then, I guess, they dispose of them.
Mr. Zakrzewski, I thought that doing so was when a proposed buyer requests it to pay a minimum bid to purchase the properties. Is that not what this is?
I don't know if these are those because they're in such bad shape.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Included in the packet for the board, there's a letter from the the County of Erie from the Tax Bureau that indicates that these particular parcels are being deleted from by the assessment office because based on a determination of the value based on a field examination, there's limited or no value to the properties. It doesn't seem that anybody has actually purchased these properties.
Gotcha. All right, any further questions or comments from the board?
None here.
Okay, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2021-R22?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item on our agenda is a memorandum of understanding with the Jefferson Educational Society for their Erie County Gaming Revenue Authority Multi-Municipal Collaborative Grant. Gentlemen, this has been a routine agreement that we have entered into with the Jefferson Society, I believe for the past 3 or 4 years. Supervisor Grow first brought up this partnership with them. Essentially, the Jefferson Society holds a leadership program in the community, and they request funding from ECRA to fund their programming. To do so, they need municipalities to sign on to endorse the program. It is no cost to the township, and ECRA, as part of our agreement, provides, I believe, a scholarship to a Mill Creek resident who is interested in participating in the program. So it's really an MOU just to show our support for the project, to enable them to pursue this grant. In the past, Mr. Grow has actually given presentations as part of the program for municipal government. Last year, I took on that role to give a presentation, and it seemed like a worthwhile program for us to take part in. And again, it's no cost to the township. It's simply an endorsement of the program to allow the Jefferson Society to secure a grant from ECRA.
Very good.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the MOU with the Jefferson Society?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a sidewalk deferral request at 5233 Bryant Street, Catherine Ann and Holly McGregor developer. Ms. Sokol?
The owners of the property, Catherine Ann and Holly McGregor, are seeking a sidewalk deferral to develop the lot for a single-family dwelling at 5233 Bryant Street, as you said. There are currently no sidewalks adjacent to the property. Should federal or state, as per agreement, should federal or state departments or agencies having regulatory authority under the Americans with Disabilities Act or other statute direct that such sidewalks could be constructed, then they will have to do so. If the Board of Supervisors should determine that construction of sidewalks is necessary to ensure protection of the public health and safety, then they will have to install it. If deferral of developer's duty to construct the sidewalk relates to the absence of sidewalks on the adjacent properties, as this one does, and sidewalks are put in on one or both, they will then have to construct the sidewalks. It is the recommendation of the zoning and development officer for approval of the sidewalk deferral request, as there are currently no sidewalks connect to in the area, and none of the other criteria.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sokol. And these sidewalk deferrals, when they're approved, they are recorded.
They are recorded at the county courthouse and
Okay.
legally binding.
All right. Any questions or comments from the board?
None here.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the sidewalk deferral request at 5233 Bryant Street?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second here.
All right. Mr. Bach?
I'll vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is Mill Creek Golf and Learning Center contract renewal with Premium Turf Farm for the 2021 season. Mr. Olet, would you like to cover that? Or
Sure.
Ms. Caparosa?
No, I'll handle it. From Ashley Marsteller from our Parks and Recreation Department. Parks and Recreation would like to retain Dan Olson of Premier Turf Farms to oversee course maintenance at Mill Creek Golf and Learning Center. Mr. Olson has been providing his services at the course for the last 3 years and has been an integral part of rehabilitating and rejuvenating the course. Mr. Olson's fees were accounted for in the operations budget of Mill Creek Golf and Learning, and the fees for this year would be the same as last year at $13,600. I'll make that in the form of a motion that we approve that.
Okay. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Any questions or comments from the board? All right, Mr. Bach,
Vote yes.
Mr. Olet,
I vote yes.
and I vote yes. Next item is communications, treasurer communications. Mr. Duchesky, anything for the board today?
Nothing further at this point.
Okay. Gentlemen, I have one item I'd like to bring up, and I apologize for not getting it on the agenda ahead of time. But before we approve the seasonal hires, I appreciate you guys allowing me to do some work on creating a new seasonal and part-time hourly wage schedule. As you gentlemen know, our part-time positions and seasonal positions have often kind of fallen by the wayside with wages being approved at one point and not being looked at for 10 or 15 years at times. So this new wage schedule we've been working on, I think brings these pay rates up to kind of commensurate current times. It also adds an automatic escalator of 0.85% annually, so that we don't have this challenge of wages falling behind as we have in the past. The wages for the seasonal positions range from $9.50 an hour to $12.25 an hour, and the wages for our part-time positions range from $11 an hour to $16 an hour. Are there any questions or comments from you gentlemen on that?
No, this is long overdue, and thanks to John and Jim for their work getting these wages back in line with where they should be.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the fiscal year 2021 Mill Creek Township part-time and seasonal staff hourly wage schedule?
I'll make that motion.
I know. Is there a second?
Do we need to have public comment?
After the motion in the second,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. Is there any public comment on this? But since it was not on the agenda, anyone in the audience have any questions or comments regarding us approving this part-time and seasonal wage schedule? Okay. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. Mr. Bach?
I'll vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. All right, next item is the hiring request from the Parks and Recreation Department. Mr. Olet.
Thank you. From Ashley Marsteller, listed employees are requested to be approved for the extended adult park maintenance positions and for landscaping maintenance positions. These positions are part-time seasonal positions. The crew is essential in maintaining proper upkeep of Mill Creek's park system and the golf courses. The listed employees are included and budgeted for in the Parks and Rec operations budget and the Mill Creek Golf and Learning Center operations budget. So we have 5 employees, both for Parks and Recreation and for the Golf and Learning Center, all for the 2021 season, and I would make a motion that we approve most of them I think are all, we have one new and the others are coming back, so I'd make a motion that we approve bringing these employees on board at the approved wage scale for 2021.
I just want to note that what's presented to us, that seems to be an error from Mark Garrity, the new hire. That rate ought to be $12 an hour. So just to make a note of that.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
If you're okay with that.
I'm good with that, yes.
All right. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Training requests from the MPD. Chief, how you doing today?
Good, sir. How are you?
I'm blessed and grateful, sir.
I have 2 training requests today. The first one is I'm requesting approval for 4 officers to attend the National Tactical Officers Training Conference in Kansas City, Missouri, September 12th through September 17th. The total cost of that training would be $6,602, and we've been pre-approved for total reimbursement from PEMA on that, Pennsylvania Emergency Management.
Thank you, Chief. Any questions or comments on the training?
None here.
I'll make a motion to approve this training request.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes.
The second one is Approval to send one officer to TASER instructor recertification training in Jefferson, Ohio on May 10th. Travel would be by department vehicle. The cost for registration is $375. That would come from the training expense line item, and that we have a balance in there as of 4/8 of $14,825, and our remaining balance would be $14,450.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board?
No, I'll make a motion to approve this training request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, Mr. Bach?
Vote yes?
Mr. Olet?
I vote yes.
I vote yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next, executive sessions. Just want to inform the public that the board did hold executive sessions on March 25th and April 7th to discuss various personnel and legal matters in the township. Next is solicitor communications. Ms. Caparosa, anything else for today? All right, thank you very much. Gentlemen, next item is the Grandview Park Improvement Project grant request. I know I've discussed this with you gentlemen before. It came to my attention, I don't know what, a few months ago, that there is a community group of engaged parents who have been actively trying to secure funding to redevelop the playground at Grandview Elementary School. That group has been very proactive to get private donations and are also in the process of securing a state grant for that project, but they are a little short on their matching funds. I think it's an appropriate thing for us to consider providing a partial match for this project, and some representatives of that group are here today to give a brief presentation. So then I'll turn it over to Ms. Catherine Amick, and also Joe Jablonski, the principal of Grandview School, is also here if you have any questions. So, Ms. Amick, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us. I do have a handout. I'm sorry I didn't get it to you beforehand. That can give you a little bit of background on the project.
Thank you. Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As John mentioned, we have a group of citizens, a group of Mill Creek Township residents who have been very interested in renovating the recreational space at Grandview Elementary School. And this is a project that we're working closely with the Mill Creek Education Foundation to fund. The project is called the CARS Project. It stands for Community Access Recreational Environmental Space. We're here today to request that the Mill Creek Township Supervisors support the CARS project with a match equal to the contribution made by the Mill Creek Township School District. This is a community project that I began researching in 2015, and I remember at that point I spoke with Mr. Morgan about different opportunities for recreational spaces in that area of zip code 16506. It's a very central location to the zip code. And as a township, we have some wonderful green spaces, some wonderful things happening at Scott Park, at Asbury Woods, in the Asbury Park, and the Asbury Barn. Unfortunately, in the central to south part of that, there isn't as much that's close for the residents to be able to use, to walk to safely, and to use. I noticed this when I moved from a street called Bud Drive off of Asbury to Love Farms in 2014, and I was shocked by the difference. And I was like, oh my gosh, we don't have close playgrounds anymore. And so it really, I noticed that difference, and I began researching it at that point in time. I chose to collaborate with Mill Creek Township School District to research different options, as I thought it would be the most central and beneficial place for a playground to be. And again, that was 6 years ago. As you know, with grant writing, it can be very, very challenging, and it takes quite a long time to make progress. And so we're here today. I do have a budget for the project if you'd like to see, but the project budget is budgeted at $235,000, and that will include walkways, it'll include blacktops, it'll include a lot of sensory equipment, so ADA compliant swings, and different types of playground equipment that are very inclusive to many different types of people. So we are asking for a match of $17,500 to $20,500. The project is under consideration for a state grant through the DCED currently. And we are just slightly short, as John said, we are slightly short of the matching funds. And we would like the Mill Creek Township to consider supporting this project as a community access project. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I don't have any, no.
Ms. Amick, I see here, so you've actually, your group has secured, it looks like $60,000 in grants and supplies from other sources already?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Part of that was a matching grant from the, from Game Time, who, and that is part, so 50,000 of that was a match from Game Time. The grant will not accept the full $50,000 match from that, and that's where we are coming in short. But we do have support from several local businesses, individual contributors, and the Mill Creek Township School District, as it will be located on their property.
And once constructed, this playground is anticipated that it'll be maintained by the school district, or maintained by the township, or maintained by a community group? Has that been discussed?
Because it would be on our property, we would maintain it as a school district.
And could you please state your name and address for the record, sir? Sorry.
Joe Jablonski, I'm the principal of Mary Elementary, 4301.
Thank you.
So we would maintain that as a school district.
And to add to that, one of the reasons that I pursued that location for the interest in this project was because the township has security cameras. It has lighting at nighttime. So for our children who are there for sporting events or just there on weekends on their own, it's an open access place where anybody can go enjoy the space at any time. And I felt that there was a lot of security there. And I think that this is a really unique opportunity to have a collaboration between the township and the district. And I am appreciative that the district is willing to support the maintenance of the area.
And my understanding is the school district has committed $17,500 so far for that?
Correct.
Yes. So after the school district's match, we are short $24,000 in matching funds. The school district has said that if the township is supportive of this project, that they will increase their matching so that we could possibly, between the two funds, cover all of the $24,000.
So I'm sorry, Ms. Amick, what's the total amount you're short?
After the school district's funds, we are short $24,000 total. So we are asking Mill Creek Township for $17,500, or if the school district is able to increase their funding to $20,500, we would ask that the township match that as well.
Okay. Is there a deadline that you need a response by for this grant?
We would like to know by the middle of May if possible.
All right, any questions from the board?
None here.
Well, gentlemen, I think this is a worthwhile project for us to consider. The idea that the township could invest between $17,000 and $20,000 to get a $235,000 park developed is a good thing for our community. I think it's in line with our kind of our Embrace Mill Creek plan of collaborating and coordinating with partner organizations and using township funds to secure federal and state matching dollars. So to say we can put $20,000 to bring over $200,000 into the community, I think is a good thing for us to look into. Especially today, after learning that our Scott Park project came in significantly under bid. If you gentlemen don't mind, I'd be happy to look into some funding sources for this and maybe present a possible funding source and grant documentation to this board at our next meeting for you guys to consider, if that's all right.
I'd be open to to that, John. I think it's
That sounds good.
a worthwhile project to look at.
Okay, and our next meeting is April 27th, correct, Cheryl? So, Ms. Amick, thank you for your time. We'll be in touch with your group. Hopefully we'll be able to help you out and make a final call on that on April 27th.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your taking the time to consider our project.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item on our agenda is citizens to be heard. Would anyone care to address the board this morning? If so, hi, would you please step up to the podium and just state your name and address for the record, please?
For 25 years, I was on the other side of this. I was over there, so I'm a little bit nervous, so please bear with me. I have copies of this document for all of you, and I have a copy that I would like to be included for the record also, please.
Sure.
I don't think she
My
stated
name
her
is
name.
Kathy Umpleby. My husband Bob and I have lived at 2916 Broadlawn Drive for more than 40 years. We've made numerous improvements to our property during this time, and I feel safe to say that our home is one of the best on the block. One final improvement would be a front porch. I would like to provide a chronology of our request. On November 16th, 2020, I visited the Township Zoning Department. Julie provided me with application documents, including an aerial view of our property and diagram of the houses on our street. She pointed out that if we wanted to build a covered front porch more than 5 feet from our home, we would need a variance that would cost $500 and must be approved by the Zoning Commission. On December 17th, 2020, my husband and I met with Pattern Knitting Molina Construction to build a 24 by 10 front porch 5 feet beyond the building line. On January 4th, my husband and I again visited the Township Zoning Department to ask more questions. Julie again reiterated that the cost would be $500 and it was subject to the approval of the Zoning Commission. The paperwork for the variance was submitted to the Zoning Department of Mill Creek Township on March 13, 2021 by Pattern Knitting Molina Construction. Shortly thereafter, Rebecca from Pattern Knitting informed us that we could not build a front porch. On March 24th, I visited the township and was told by the receptionist that I would be able to address the zoning board that evening. She had checked while I was there with the department, the zoning department. My husband and I attended that meeting and were told that we could not address the zoning board because our variance had not been rejected. Attorney Perhaps and Julie assured us that we would be contacted the following day to discuss. On March 26th, I again visited the township and asked to meet with Matt. 4 months after my initial visit to the zoning department, we were informed that Zoning Commission was unable to grant a variance because the builder of the Westminster Colony subdivision had bylaws and there were also township ordinances that prevent this approval. Matt and I have traded a number of emails pertaining to zoning, and I was told that we would be able to meet with the solicitor. That has not yet come to fruition. I have spent a lot of time with the county records departments and driving past residences throughout Westminster Colony subdivisions. We believe that some residents are not in compliance. We've heard there are individuals who never asked permission to, but built, and individuals who asked permission and when they were denied, waited for a period of time and did what they wanted. A variance is simply a detour from the guideline granted by the governing body. What are the rules around why some get approved and some need consideration? What makes a request unable to be granted? And what is it that we can do to impact this decision? Has the board fined or required residents to take down their additions? Matt provided me with the Westminster Colony 2 subdivision boundaries. There are approximately 56 lots. He has indicated that to be granted a variance, approval will be required of all lot owners. Tell me why the people who live 2 blocks away care if we take 5 additional feet of our own property. Our neighborhood is turning over and new families are moving in. 4 homes sold this past year. By adding a porch, we will improve the look of our property and our neighborhood. We all want to increase neighborhood appeal. The street we live on is 2 blocks long. We've inquired with our neighbors, and they do not have a problem with us building a front porch. Bob and I respectfully request that a variance be granted.
Chairman, do you mind if Ms. Opie, first of all, I want to apologize for miscommunication that you may have received from township staff. Specifically, the zoning hearing board, if a receptionist informed you that you could address the zoning hearing board, I'm very sorry that you were misinformed on that. The zoning hearing board is a quasi-judicial board that doesn't hear public comments on general issues like we do. So I'm very sorry that if you wasted your time to come to that meeting, and I deeply apologize for that miscommunication to you. In regards to the variance issue, I believe, and Ms. Caparosa might be able to elaborate a little more, that I think when Ms. Maggio first addressed your request, I believe that she was unaware that there was a recorded building line on that subdivision, which creates a whole other level of legal challenges. So I apologize that those our staff gave you maybe some misinformation, and there was an honest error on the staff's part. So I really am sorry for that. As far as why a variance can't be heard on this particular issue, I'll turn over to Ms. Caparosa in a moment, but essentially this subdivision has a building line that's recorded, it's different than a municipal setback, which is what our zoning hearing board can grant a variance for. It's actually a recorded document. It's legally binding. It's similar to a deed restriction or bylaws of a homeowner association that the township doesn't have authority to grant variances over. We wouldn't be able to grant variances on a deed restriction, and we wouldn't be able to force a homeowner association to change their bylaws. And this building line is of a similar vein to those kinds of documents. So as far as the meeting with our solicitor, I imagine it's because our primary solicitor, Mr. Shaw, has had some pretty challenging health issues in his family, so his availability has been limited for the past few weeks. So I apologize for the delay in scheduling that with you. I'm sure they'd be happy to meet with you. But I'll let Lydia explain it. Is there anything I missed, Lydia, or is there more detail to that?
You're on track. Thank you very much, Mr. Morgan. Ms. Thumbleby, my name is Lydia Caparosa, and I work very closely with the township solicitor, Mark Shaw. We have discussed setting up a time to meet with you, and as Mr. Morgan indicated, there's been some challenges in our schedule. So we are very much open to meeting and discussing with you beyond today's meeting. In terms of Mr. Morgan's comments concerning the building lines, those are different than the setback lines, which are set by the municipality. The recorded document for the subdivision is something that all of the property owners take their property subject to. So in theory, neighbors that have built without permission of the township could request that those people take down that extensions that go beyond building lines because it's in violation of the recorded subdivision. The township doesn't enforce on deed restrictions, but building lines, that is part of the saldo that anybody applying for a building permit must comply with recorded building lines. Because this is recorded with the Register of Deeds, in order to change that such that everybody is on notice of the change, everybody would have to sign off on a new recorded subdivision plan. There's no variance that the municipality can grant to you to allow you to build beyond the building line, unfortunately.
And we'll be happy to meet with you and try and explain to you what that process would look like. It is going to be cumbersome, and it's probably going to require a re-recording of the subdivision plan, which may be costly, but we'll be happy to meet with you and thoroughly explain that process that you'd have to go through to make those changes. But it's really nothing that we as a board or the zoning hearing board can grant.
I There are, it's a very uneven, where I live, it's 2 blocks long, then up above there's a cul-de-sac, and there's very few homes. I mean, we don't have a lot of homes there. Within my own area, we believe there are at least 1 home, probably 2, that are in violation of this. Whether they requested a roof or they didn't request a roof, I would never turn them in. I would never do anything like that. I'm not a very vindictive person. But we did things the right way. You know, we came to you, we asked permission. We got a builder. I have a picture. We have gone through every step we need to do, and we, I guess if Julie did not know the rules, I'm not real happy about that, but I have been working on this for months, and it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. Now, if you can't grant me that permission, if you have no authority to do anything for me, where do I go now? I don't have the money to hire an attorney and do all kinds of things. What do I need to do as a citizen to make this better? Is there anything, or are you just saying, no, go home?
Well, we're certainly not saying no, go home, but, I mean, it's just the legal reality that when subdivisions are recorded, developers can put building lines down, which regulate how that development gets developed in the future, and everyone who buys into that subdivision, it's recorded court document that they're aware of and they agree to when they purchase the property. So it's not an infringement that we're placing. It's a requirement that the developer at the time put in place to protect that, how that area was to be developed, that all the property owners are aware of. So it's not something that we can just wipe away. It's something that would require the parcels within that subdivision to all agree to redraw and re-record that subdivision plan. And like I said, that's a process that we'd be happy to walk you through and at a separate meeting outside of today that we can schedule with you and try and walk you through that process. But there's nothing that we as a board can do to alleviate those requirements on that recorded subdivision plan.
I understand what you're telling me. I have a very difficult time. You know, I would think that things would be looked at on an individual basis. I was under the impression that if I had gotten all my ducks in order, everything would be good. I guess at this point, I feel maybe I should have just asked forgiveness and permission. Because there's nothing I can do now. You know, I mean, there's just nothing I can do. If I don't want to hire an attorney, which I have no money to hire. Can you tell me when I'm going to get to have some kind of a meeting with somebody? I've been now waiting since November.
And Mrs. Umpleby, and just reiterating with Mr. Morgan, we're very happy to meet with you. I can give you my card today, and we can work with Attorney Schott and Mr. Waldinger to set up a time to discuss the process. And as Mr. Morgan indicated, you know, this is a complicated issue. We have seen it arise a couple of times, and we are willing to, work with you in, outlining the plan and what you need to do in order to move forward with, potentially.
So you would be able to cover that. I don't have to hire an attorney.
I can't commit to covering every expense, but we're certainly happy to, begin the process of this is what you need to do and how you need to go about it.
Thank you very much all for your time. I will provide you with this, and as I said, I would like if one could be also included for the record.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. Yep.
Would anyone else in attendance care to address the board this morning? Okay. Anything else for the good of the order from the staff or the board?
John, I have one additional item.
Sure thing.
We covered it last meeting with just a reminder about our prescription medication take-back day, which is Saturday, April 24th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., right here at the Township Building. People can come in the front lobby, and there'll be a receptionist and an officer present here to accept any expired prescription medications. We reiterate, no needles, things of that nature. No, obviously, illegal substances will be taken. So this is something we've been doing annually for several years, and I think it's well attended, and it's a service provided on Saturday, April 24th, 10 to 2.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. I believe,
Thank
Mr. Light, you had an announcement as
I
well?
do have two announcements real quick. The first one is our spring curbside leaf collection, which will be the week of May 3rd through the 7th. It's going to be on your normal pickup day. So all leaf waste needs to be in a clear, transparent bag during your normal collection week. Bags can be picked up here at the Township Building, and more information on that can be found online on the Township's website. Also, I want to announce again that we have a special collection event at the Millfair Compost Center, 2301 Millfair Road. That's on Saturday, May 15th from 9 until noon. You do need to pre-register for this event at millcreektownship.com/recycling event. We are following COVID protocols for this event. You can find that information online also. So the items that are acceptable at this event are appliances without Freon, car batteries, bicycles without tires, construction and demolition waste, glass bottles and jars that are clean and without caps or lids, hot water tanks, lawn mowers without gas or oil. There's paper shredding available for residential customers, propane tanks, minus the propane, scrap metal, textiles, washers, and dryers. There is a fee charged if you do bring an appliance with Freon. It's nominal. And also tires, there's a $5 per tire charge for recycling the tires. And again, that is Saturday, May 15th from 9 until noon.
Just really quick question for you. I had a resident out in Bell Valley ask me recently, is there any possibility for us to have these kind of events out at maybe the Bell Valley Firehouse or at Bell Valley School, or is it really, do we need to utilize the Millfair Center for a particular purpose?
I think one of the reasons it's held out there is because of the how we can handle traffic in the area and the size of the Millfair Center that provides us plenty of space to do things. I could certainly check with Jesse Stutzman and see if we could, put together an East Side event that does make sense.
Yeah, just something that someone brought up to me, and that they, that might be worth looking into.
Sure thing.
All right. Anything else, folks? All right, with that, I will ask for a motion for adjournment at 10:33.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.